Hello everybody, welcome to another one-shot. This video specifically was a challenge from my darling Hana. This is actually the first video with this ship ever. And yeah, even though we said that we'd keep it as a one-shot, there will be a bonus part. So I guess it's 2 parts essentially. I genuinely just cannot keep it into 1 part. I don't know why, I just feel like with my writing, I feel like one-shots have lost their value as one-shots. There just needs to be more. Honestly, this idea, it has so much potential to be like 5 parts, but I kept it as it is. So, I hope you guys enjoy this. Hello my lovely viewers. Looking for some affordable and good quality anime merch? Want to support your favorite Haikyuu team or join UA? What about joining the Straw Hat Pirates for an adventure or two? Want to join the Black Bulls or the Fairy Tail Guild? Well, this site has that and so much more. Use my discount code and receive 10% off your entire order. Link and code is in the description. Thank you so much for watching. Having an off day was a rare occurrence for the Libero, but due to remodeling on the gym floors, Yaku was excused from practice for the next 2 days. The only unfortunate thing about finally having time off was his boyfriend, Lev, was out of town for a photo shoot. The tiny apartment suddenly felt huge and sparse even. The silence was so thick that Yaku had to turn on the TV just to have some background noise. He briefly thought about contacting ShibaInuYakuLev, his partners, but didn't want to feel like a burden. It was only recently that him and Lev had welcomed the other 2 former Nekama players into their loving arms as something more than just platonic flirting. Since it was still so new, Yaku still wasn't sure what was okay and what wasn't. He certainly did not want to come off as overbearing and cause more attention. Yaku was fully aware how he was classified as a demon back in high school and often came off as stuck-up or rude for prioritizing volleyball and getting better. And he was often cruel to them as teammates. But the thing was, they no longer were just teammates. The Libero wanted to get better, and prove to them that he wasn't just some demon, and that he does have a heart that was big enough to love the 3 of them. Groaning, Yaku settled into the cushions of their couch, practically begging his body to take advantage of his day off. It did little to nothing when he heard something break from upstairs. Typically, he'd blame it on Lev, being the absolute klutz he is and breaking something. But Lev wasn't here. He was alone. Cautiously, he peeled himself from the couch and tiptoed to the source of the noise. Yaku felt his blood run cold upon opening the door and seeing a hooded figure standing inside of the room. Lev? Is that you? He felt stupid for even asking the question. He remembered seeing the giant off. There was no way Lev would be there. Besides, the stranger was shorter than Lev, and maybe even Inyoka, yet taller than him. This was an intruder. Completely stunned and frozen in place, the intruder ran open towards him with a blade in hand. The Libero's eyes caught trace of the silver glint, yet didn't have enough time to react. He lurched at the piercing pain in his side, feeling the weapon slice through his skin. The wound erupted into blazing flames. While it didn't touch anything vital, it merely nicked him. It was still a considerable sized gash. Yaku stumbled backwards, not able to counter the next blow either. Everything was happening too quickly for him to process. He was just standing there, taking the hits. Yaku hit the floor with a thud when the intruder slammed their lamp table over his head. The blonde's phone slid across the floor. Through hooded eyes, he could see Lev's profile picture flashing on the screen through call. Groaning, Yaku tried to reach for the phone before darkness overcame his senses entirely, but the intruder stepped over him, their heel digging into his phone, shattering the screen. The picture of Lev dimmed until it flickered out. As did his consciousness, as the intruder loomed closer over him. It was hot, exceptionally humid even. The windows in the moving vehicle were rolled up, sealing him from the outside world, and the AC sputtered every now and then, but eventually died out entirely. Yaku stirred, trying to move his hands to access the aching in his head, but found while he could move his arms in front of him, he couldn't move his wrist. Finally opening his eyes, he quietly hissed when the sun's almighty light shined through the windshield, sending another dagger through his skull. His pulse quickened in panic, trying to move his wrists, even after finding out they were bound together. Frantic brown eyes darted around the vehicle. He was in the back seat of the musty car, so he could see his kidnapper through the rearview mirror. The car was speeding down the road, or maybe they were going relatively slow through a town. Yaku wasn't sure. His coordination seemed to blend together and couldn't focus on the sound. He could only hear his own breathing and thundering pulse. The Libero peeled his head from the car seat, ignoring the way he wanted the cringe from his hair crusting together from the blood. He silently and slowly reached for the handle on the door. He flinched back and pretended to be unconscious when he heard shuffling from the front seat. Yaku waited longer than he cared to admit to open his eyes and grab the handle, unlocking the door, and then he swung it open. The rest happened in one swift moment. Once the door swung open, Yaku flung himself out of the moving vehicle and tumbled, bracing himself for impact, and covered his already injured head to protect himself. Running on pure adrenaline and fear, Yaku stood seemingly unfazed, but knew that the pain would catch up to him later. The Libero looked around, trying to figure out where he was, and noticed a familiar landmark of a park that Inuoka once took him to, which just so happened to be very close to their home. Yaku knew Inuoka was more than likely at the daycare working, but Shibayama, he was home. He just needed to run a bit farther. His legs moved on their own, darting down the path to Shibayama's. Taking the shortcut through a small brush, he nearly collapsed, seeing the outline of their home just in the distance. The moments between then and the moment he ran up the porch step blended together. It could have taken seconds, or even minutes, and he wouldn't have known. The blazing pain in his side was starting to resurface. Yaku still couldn't untangle his hands from the rope, and settled for slamming his conjoined fist down on the door repeatedly and frantically. Yuki! Relentlessly, he continued pounding his fist into the door, desperate to get inside and just pray that Shibayama hadn't decided to take a stroll or gone to the store. Demoralized, Yaku ran his shoulder into the door, practically swinging his entire body into the door. Yuki, please! As their phone command, a bewildered Shibayama opened the door, wondering what the commotion was about, and yelped when Yaku ran in and slammed the door shut, locking it with his trembling hands. Mori? Raven took in the state of his lover, who was panicked and bleeding everywhere. Shibayama quickly undid the rope around the blonde's wrists. Mori, what the hell is going on? Don't go out there. You need to call for help. My phone. Yaku blinked, focusing hard as if trying to remember where his phone was placed. Was it still at the house or in the car? Did he even have it to begin with? His response time was slow and laced with confusion. Hey, calm down. Take deep breaths. I'll call for help, alright? Multitasking, the Raven grabbed a towel and pressed it into Yaku's side, all while dialing for help on his phone. Shibayama proceeded to give information to the person on the phone while assuring Yaku that he was safe. Hey Mori, you need to stay awake, okay? Delicate fingers traced the outline of blood on the smaller's forehead. You hit your head pretty good. It's not safe to sleep until paramedics get here, alright? Yuki. The trembling Libero pulled himself up and clung to his partner's shirt, sobbing and wailing from all that he was forced to endure alone. Shibayama immediately wrapped his arms around the latter, aiding comfort and reassurance. Shh, it's okay now. You're safe here. Shibayama blinked, pondering on what in the world just happened. He sat in the entryway, hovering over a pool of his lover's blood, even after the paramedics came to take him away. He sucked in a shuddered breath, reaching for his phone. Hello? The background noise of children screaming and laughing almost drowned out his voice, yet was still present. So, hearing the tremble in his voice, Inuoka backed away into a much quieter location while still being able to keep an eye on the children, who seemed preoccupied, doing their own thing. Yuki, baby, what's going on? Please, I need you to come home. I don't even know what the hell happened. Shibayama cursed once the tears poured from his eyes, unable to compose himself. Hey, it's okay. I'll see if I can get a sub, alright? Where do you need me? The Raven sniffled, throwing a towel over the puddle of blood, but didn't bother to clean it up. He wasn't mentally prepared for that type of turmoil. Grabbing his keys, he locked the house and started walking to the hospital. Their only vehicle was currently with Inuoka. The hospital. There was a string of silence on the phone, and the Libero couldn't blame him. Okay, let me make a few calls. Are you hurt? No. It's Mori. Try calling Lev if you haven't. Is it alright if I hang up? I'll be there soon. Yeah. Once Inuoka hung up, Shibayama dialed Lev's number and cursed, noticing it went to voicemail almost immediately. The dumb giant probably turned it off while doing a photo shoot. He tried calling again and again. He called nearly a couple dozen times, but there was still no answer. Finally done with the photo shoot that dragged much later into his personal time than he would have liked, Lev was completely exhausted, and more so, upset that he hadn't heard from his partners all day. He did call Yaku earlier during his lunch, but was quickly disappointed when the call went dead. His brow furrowed, seeing the multitude of missed calls from Shibayama and Inuoka, and decided to call back to make sure if everything was okay. If they called that many times, it must be important. Hey Yuki, is everything alright? Sorry, I just got out of work, so I didn't mean to make you wait so long. We're at the hospital. The model paused, trying to make sure he heard correctly. The hospital? What? Can I get more context here? Are you okay? It was Modi. He just woke up and told us what happened. Lev shuddered, sitting back into his seat further and unmoving. He intently listened to the raven's words and digested them. Someone broke into your home, and Modi got caught and was kidnapped. He managed to escape and ran to our place. What? He was speechless, and eventually shut his mouth to end the sputter of words that came from his lips, just to gather his words and thoughts. Is he okay? Yeah. He just has a concussion and needed a few stitches. Luckily, where he was stabbed wasn't so much of a stab, but more like a laceration in his side, so nothing vital was hit. This happened fairly early in the morning, so he is almost okay enough to go home. Although I hope you don't mind, but I won't let Morty go back to your place. No, go ahead. I don't want him there anyways. Gods, is that why he didn't take my call? Lev sighed in distress and rubbed his sweaty palms over his pajama pants. His trip was supposed to end tomorrow after an important interview and then take a plane home, but it took everything in him to not start packing his belongings now. Do I need to come home? Shibayama laughed on the other line. No, don't worry about it. You'll be home by tomorrow night, won't you? Just continue what you're doing. Besides, figuring out a plane tickets last minute is a huge pain in the ass. Lev chuckled, not denying that to be false. Is Morty awake? Mm-hmm. Can you hand the phone to him? Sure, but no, he's still out of it from the pain medication. He nodded, ignoring the fact Shibayama couldn't see, and turned it into a video call. And Yoga was practically glued to Yaku, pressing kisses along his cheeks and arms. His wrists looked like they'd been rubbed raw, and even seemed discolored. Lev didn't want to know what that was about. Hey baby, are you feeling okay? Tell Soul to get off. I'm being smothered in kisses. Lev chuckled again and sighed in relief. If Yaku could still put up a fight, he was more than okay. The model could sense some timidness in the libero, but it was a natural response to such a traumatic experience. Come on, can't I kiss my boyfriend? There isn't even a spot untouched at this point. Well, he's gotta make up for my lack of kisses. The blonde groaned when Inuyaka took that as a sign to start kissing him again and smothered him with even more than before. Mori, I'll be home by tomorrow night. I'm sorry I can't be with you. I'm just glad you're alright. Don't worry about not being able to come back to Japan. You are literally out of the country. But when you do get back, come to mine Yuki's place. Don't even think about going home. The police are still investigating your home and how the intruder got in. It's not safe there. Lev nodded, glad he at least had a bag packed with him and yacht. Today's events quickly took a toll on him, and he wasn't even the one in danger. Yaku laughed. Get some sleep, silly. I don't want to see you tired once you get back home, because you have a lot of cuddling to make up for. Alright, alright. I can't even argue with you. You're too cute when you get like this. Yaku rolled his eyes and flipped him off, struggling to do so with his fingers getting tangled in the wires that monitored his vitals. We are hanging up now. Get home to us safe. Will do. I'll see you tomorrow. That is officially the end of this one-shot, but I did also say that I'd be doing a bonus part to this, even though it is a one-shot. I obviously did not understand the assignment. Now I will go ahead and say I do know that there was not much relationship dynamic between this ship. Mainly this is used for the plot of, you know, the intruder and the kidnapping and all that stuff. But the bonus part will include that dynamic a lot more, plus the recovery, plus what was mentioned earlier in this video, and that was Yaku's insecurities about him being a demon and just being convinced that he isn't enough for his partners. So yeah, be on the lookout for that bonus part. As always, thank you so much to all of my deckers. You guys are super amazing and we just keep on growing. It's crazy, like, we're growing. And special thanks to Albert, Francis, ADHD, Heaven, and Brooklyn. Sorry if I pronounce names wrong. My pronunciation is garbage, but thank you guys so very much. And I will see you guys later.